What's up, everyone? Today I decided today I was going to talk a little bit about the difference between a simp and a white knight. So we have to make kind of this distinction, right? So a simp is essentially a dude. He doesn't have any means of getting a woman, right? I don't know, whatever. He doesn't have a lot of options. Maybe he lives somewhere where there's a lot of single men. There's a lot of competition. Maybe he lives somewhere where, the men are very protective of, the women around there. Maybe he lives somewhere where, the women just aren't that pretty, whatever. But he's sort of making do with what he has. And, if, I don't know, maybe he's like, 5'6", he's not that good looking. Maybe he's, average face, maybe average body type, whatever. Like he's not really there. He also doesn't really have a lot of money either, not much influence. He's kind of just like a low, tier, unattractive guy. So he has no other choice but to kind of, pay more for less, if you will, just because of the situation that he's in. Now, while, I have a problem with simps, that's kind of just the beginning of it, right? It's when you see simps become white knights. You see this a lot, right? Where these guys will actively go out and try to defend a woman with not much expectation in return, right? And that's kind of the problem that I have with Andrew Tate and a lot of these so-called, conservative red pill guys, is that they're actively going out and trying to protect women. Right, we've all heard the stories of, guys in prison getting their shit kicked in, getting fucked up, because they touched a woman or they abused her or whatever, pimps, all that good shit. That is what I call white knighting. Simping is just like, all right, dude, you don't have a choice. You're trying to gain some benefit. You can see it in the political sphere as well, where, politically speaking, you're sort of defending another country, right? You're sort of defending another country at your own expense, whatever, because, for pragmatic reasons. So you can say simps do what they do for pragmatic reasons, whereas a white knight is genuinely concerned with, protecting a woman. Right, particularly a woman that he has nothing to do with. He gains no benefit from it, right? So if say okay, a woman robbed a dude in public, right? She tried to run off with his shit, and you try to get your stuff back, and then some random dudes just come out and start jumping your ass, beating the shit out of you. That's what I call white knighting. That is a different kind of thing than, say, simping. There's a big difference between the two. So that's it. It's just something we got to clear up. Got to, talk about the manosphere. That's it, guys. Take care.